Fellow auto detailers, welcome to the show that features interviews with today's most successful auto detailers. This is the Auto Detailing Podcast. Here's your host, Jimbo Balaam.
Hey, it's Jimbo with the Auto Detailing Podcast, coming back for another episode from the road. I just wanted to share another thing that has been going on in my life over the past couple days, or my business, actually, and that is because of the advertising that I do for my business, I get a ton of calls, and sometimes some of those calls for jobs are from actually outside of my work area. Now, that is something that I do need to check out to make sure that I'm not paying for ads run outside of my area, but also sometimes people have their computers set to different areas than where they actually live. Maybe they're searching at work and they work, quite a distance away from where they live, but they're actually looking for someone to come to their house, whatever, right? So the point is, I got a call for a job about an hour and 15 minutes away from where I'm at. Now, sometimes I'll take those jobs, kind of depending on what time of year it is and what the job entails exactly. But this job was going to be, for me, a multi-day operation because including debt repair, a little paint touch-up, and also some paint correction. So it was one of those jobs that I wanted to go out and look at initially so I could quote it properly, and then schedule a time to come out on a separate day or separate days to complete the work. Now, because of the time of year it is, and because the customer didn't want to bring the car to me, which I also will do too sometimes, it just wasn't. It didn't make sense for me to. It didn't make sense for me to do the job, to go, drive an hour to an hour and a half one way to go quote the job, and then to schedule some other days to go back up there. So what I did was I told the customer, hey, if you don't want to bring the car to me, that's no big deal. I could work around that, and I can refer you out to one of my, I called it a trusted partner, someone who I would entrust this customer with. And then because of all the groups and the connections that I made through the podcast and stuff like that, I was able to put my feelers out to someone in this local area that I maybe not knew super great, but I could research enough to make sure that they were more than adequate to handle this job. And in doing that, while it doesn't produce any monetary return for me, it looks really good to the customer, and and it's nice to help other detailers out. So I ended up finding a guy that was about 15 minutes away from this customer, and so I did an email introduction with both the customer or the potential customer and the detailer or the shop that was more than adequate to handle this type of work, and hopefully that's a great relationship. And so what I wanted, the point to sharing that with you is sometimes we can't always get to the jobs that we want to get to, or, sometimes they're out of the area for us that it doesn't make sense to, for us to travel that amount of distance to get to. But begin to work a local, or not a local, but a connection with detailers outside of your area, or maybe within your local territory that you work, that you not only trust, but you guys can pass work back and forth in those times that you're either too busy to make it somewhere or you're caught up doing something else. You can refer that customer out, and vice versa. Hopefully that relationship is reciprocal. Now, I do not expect anything in return at all. That's not why I did that. I did it to take care of the customer and to help this detailer out, which I hope it ends up working out. Because I've received jobs from other detailers as well from outside their area. So it can create a really nice flow within your business. It doesn't happen all the time, but I think it's a good point to make it part of how you operate and part of your business. And we're all in this together, and as we stick together, we will grow the industry. Division is just something that completely drives me nuts, and guys not willing to help other guys out, downright just is disgusting to me. So help your other detail brothers out or sisters, and pass work along. It'll come back to you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Auto Detailing Podcast. Head on over to autodetailingpodcast.com to read our full show notes, blog post, updates, and even sign up for our newsletter so you can be the first to hear about the latest and greatest all things auto detailing podcast. And don't forget, if you leave us a rating and review on iTunes, it'll help us reach other auto detailers just like you, and you may even get a shout out at the top of a future episode. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.